Okay, station 3.
Mr. Buffett, my name is Neil Patel from Chicago. I greatly admire the way you have lived a frugal personal life, even with your considerable wealth. How do you think your frugality has helped Berkshire shareholders over the years? And Charlie, are there any instances where you think that Warren's frugality has hurt Berkshire shareholders?
Well, first of all, let's ask who is the more frugal between us. Charlie, who do you think?
Well, in personal consumption, Warren is more frugal.
Would you care to give an example?
Warren lives in the same house he bought for a very modest price, what, in 1950 something?
I bought it in 1958, and you moved into yours about 1960, didn't you?
Yeah, and I paid more.
But he designed his own.
Absolutely.
He designed his
He's
own
more
house.
frugal.
He did not pay an architect, right?
I did. I paid an architect $1,900. It was as much as 30% of the normal price.
Yeah. Notice how he remembers the details. No, I have everything in life I want. It's a very simple thing. If there's anything that money could buy, there are things money can't buy. But if there's anything money could buy that I wanted, I'd do it this afternoon. I wouldn't have any problem with that at all. I do not think that standard of living equates with cost of living beyond a certain point. I mean, up to a certain point, there's no question that it does. I mean, in terms of having good housing, good health service, good food, everything. But good transportation. But there's a point, I think, if anything, you start getting inverse correlation. My life would not be happier. In fact, it'd be worse if I had 6 or 8 houses, or a whole bunch of different things I could have. It just doesn't correlate. And so having everything I have, I mean, you can't have more than that. And that doesn't really make any. It makes a difference up to a point. I mean, you can start thinking a lot differently when you got to X, but when you get to 10X or 100X or 1,000X, it just doesn't make any possible difference. But, Charlie, can
the frugality basically has helped Berkshire. And I look out at this audience and I see a bunch of understated frugal people too. We collect you people.
But forget about it this weekend. The more you buy, the more you save at these prices, folks. Okay, Andrew.
This question comes from Azar Kadar, who's in the audience. Queens Court Capital wants you to know that he's a Columbia B School grad, just like you, Warren.
Good.
The question is the following. Berkshire paid $8.9 billion in taxes in 2013. Pfizer is currently contemplating an acquisition that would allow it to move its technical holding company overseas and thereby save income tax expense and create shareholder value. Is this something you and Charlie would ever consider if it would create value for Berkshire shareholders?
I think the answer to that is no. What do you say, Charlie?
I think it would be crazy to be as prosperous as Berkshire and get our tax to zero while we remain this prosperous. That would not be a legitimate ideal.
Yeah. We could not have done Berkshire in any other country except the United States either. That's, and just look at what we've acquired and everything. America has, in a very, very, very big way, helped Charlie and I become very, very, very rich. Charlie?
I've got no complaints, and I look around at this group. I see you at breakfast. It's a very happy group of people. I don't think a lot of people are gnashing their teeth that somebody else has a little more.
But we don't pay. I don't want to make it holier than thou, this stuff. We don't pay anything beyond that. When we get all through figuring that tax on our 20,000 page plus return, we don't add a tip of 20% or 15% or anything. And we do certain transactions which are tax-driven. We're in low-income housing tax credits, which actually George Bush 41 congratulated me for, so it's bipartisan. The wind energy deals we do, the solar deals we do, they are tax-driven to I mean, they won't make economic sense otherwise. So we follow the rules, but we don't begrudge the taxes we pay. We've earned a lot of money while paying U.S. taxes. I've listened to so many nonsensical cost of capital discussions that
I've never heard an intelligent one.
yeah, yeah, it's really true. I mean, and that's another thing. I've been on boards, and the CFO comes in and explains why we're doing this, and it always gets down to, it exceeds our cost of capital, and he doesn't know what the hell his cost of capital is, and I don't know, but I don't embarrass him, so I just sit there and listen to the stuff and apply my own thing, and then still end up voting for it probably if I don't like it, although there have been a few exceptions to that. The real test over time is whether what the capital we retain produces more than $1 of market value as we go along. And if we keep putting billions in, and those billions in effect are worth, in terms of present value terms, in terms of what they add to the value of the business, more than what we're putting in, we'll keep doing it. We bought a company day before yesterday, I guess it was, and we are spending close to $3 billion US. It's a Canadian company, and we think we will be better off financially because we did that, and we thought it was the best thing that we could do with the $3 billion on that day. And those are the yardsticks that we have. And what I do know is that I've never seen a CEO who wanted to do a deal where the CFO didn't come in and say it exceeded the cost of capital. It's a game as far as we're concerned, and we think we can evaluate businesses, and we know the capital we have available, and we have things that we can sell to buy, not businesses, but marketable securities. We can sell to buy businesses if we like, and we are constantly measuring that opportunity cost that Charlie talked about in the movie. It's an important subject, and one that I think has had more nonsense written about it than about anything, but I'll turn it over to Charlie to go further.
Well, a phrase like cost of capital, which means different things to different people, and often means silly things to people who teach in business schools. We just don't use it. Warren's definition of behaving in a corporation so that every dollar retained tends to create more than $1 of market value for the shareholders is probably the best way of describing cost of capital. That is not what they mean in business schools. The answer is perfectly simple. We're right and they're wrong.
I look good compared to him, don't I? Okay, station 3.